You need to save for an upcoming expense. A sinking fund may be the perfect tool to allow you to do that. But what if you have a really, really tight budget? If you don't know me, I'm Hope. This is Under the Median, where every week practical frugality meets real life. Usually my husband Larry's with me in the studio. He's under the weather today, so in this video, you get just me. Last week on Instagram, I did a reel. I defined sinking funds and gave an example of how to save for a sinking fund. But one of the viewers on Instagram left a comment that was very interesting, and I want to talk about answering that question in this video. She said, "That sounds great, but I'm retired. I'm on a fixed income, and I just don't have that extra money every single month to set aside for that upcoming expense. What can I do?" Yes, sinking funds can still be perfectly acceptable and perfectly accessible, even if you're living on a tight budget. I'll give you some tips and strategies in this video. But first, so we're all on the same page, let's define a sinking fund. A sinking fund is a method of being able to save in advance for an upcoming expense, and it's always a known expense. Now, you may not know exactly when the expense is happening or exactly how much the expense is, but you do know that that expense will be coming up in the near future. Let me give you an example. Sinking funds are perfect when you're trying to save up for a large upcoming expenditure. Let's just say you live in a home and you know that that roof on the house, it's got another 3 or 4 years left in it before you're going to have to seriously think about replacing the roof. You're going to use that time to be able to research roofs, to look at shingles, to determine exactly what brand of shingle you want, exactly how the warranty works on that shingle, whether it's a 10-year shingle or a 20-year shingle. You're going to interview some local roofers. You're going to get some estimates. That's going to give you all the information that you need to determine how long do I have to save for this upcoming event and about what is the budget going to be. After you know that information, you simply take the total amount that you need divided by the number of months that you have available to save, and that becomes the monthly amount that you set aside toward that sinking fund. But if you don't have that amount of money available in your monthly budget, don't worry, stick with us because I'm going to give you some tips and strategies for taking care of that situation as well. We have about 14 sinking funds that we use every single year in our personal budget. They can range for everything from paying for Christmas gifts to paying for that upcoming vacation to, yes, indeed, paying for the new roof on your home. So now we know what a sinking fund is and how they work in order to allow you to save money ahead of time. But what happens if you don't have that money available in your regular budget? Tip number 1, you can simply extend the amount of time that you're using to save for the goal. Do you know for sure that roof needs to be replaced in 36 months? What if you took that goal and said, all right, we're saving for 48 months, 4 years from today? Or what if you said we're saving 60 months? That gives you 5 years to save for that roof. See if you can take that amount of money and extend it out a little bit. That means you're only going to have to set aside smaller amounts of money every month in order to reach the goal. Another strategy is to take that larger goal and simply disassemble it into smaller pieces. Let's just say that you're saving up for a 12-day vacation and it's going to be a major vacation. Well, instead of doing that, you can just say, all right, we're going to take 2 smaller vacations this year. They're going to be weekend getaways instead of planning on that 12-day major vacation. You're still getting time away. You're just simply saving smaller amounts of money. The third tip is to make sure that you're planning for your purchase around seasonal sales cycles. For instance, if you're saving for the roof, is there a time of the year where it's just best to buy a roof because, let's say, roofing supplies go on sale? Or let's think about clearance sales. If you are trying to save for Christmas expenses, is it possible you can look at purchasing some of those Christmas gifts in advance and taking advantage of sales that come 7 to 10 days after every major holiday? For instance, I just shopped about 10 days after Valentine's Day, and I found some amazing gifts that I'm setting aside for birthdays and for Christmas coming later this year. And I saved 75% off the retail price. The next tip is to just don't buy it new, get it used. If you're saving to replace your cell phone and that's your sinking fund, then maybe you just don't need a new iPhone. Maybe you can get a used iPhone and still get all the functionality that you need for a fraction of the price. Now, this video is all about trying to figure out how to save for the sinking funds when you have a tight budget. If you're looking for ways to cut back on your regular monthly expenses, grab my free guide to reducing expenses. I give you step-by-step instructions and also checklists. It's free. There'll be a link to it in the description of the video. All right, let's just say you can't move back this upcoming expense. Let's just say you can't really cut back on the upcoming expense. How can you still afford it when you don't have $300 or $400 a month to set aside to fund the sinking fund? Try a temporary spending freeze. That's right, a no spend challenge. These are fantastic tools to be able to make sure that you are getting a lot of money accrued all at once in, say, 30 to 60 days. The whole idea of a no spend challenge is to spend only on the necessities. Everything else that is not a necessity, you're going to cut it for that period of time. All of the extra money that you haven't spent, that goes, you guessed it, right toward the sinking fund. Another way to fund the sinking fund is to get a side gig. That's right, get some additional income. You could take some overtime at work. You could work third shift, which sometimes comes with a premium, a little bump in pay per hour. Or you could get a second job for a short period of time. But you could also take a talent that you already have, something that people are willing to pay you money to do, and take on some of those side jobs in order to save the money. Another way to save, and a lot of people don't consider this, is what do you do with a windfall? That's extra money that comes your way that you absolutely were not expecting. One of the things that we do is encourage people to think about your personal budget as though you were a business owner. Businesses all have SOPs, standard operating procedures. They have a step-by-step guide basically for every single task that is about the business. So if you were a business owner and you had a windfall, wouldn't you have kind of a step-by-step idea of exactly what you're going to do with that windfall so that you don't get the money and then just spend all of it? We do. We have an SOP for windfalls, which says that we will put 50% of that windfall toward an upcoming goal. We will take 30% of the windfall and we will put it toward a specific budget category that maybe we need a little bit more money in the budget category. And 20% of that windfall is going to go toward doing something fun, something we normally would not spend money on. What that allows us to do is to immediately, when extra money comes in, look at it from the perspective of someone who's saying, wait a minute, this is not all just meant to have fun with, to spend it so that we don't know exactly where the windfall went. This money is designed to help us to reach some goals, but also to have a little bit of fun. Now, I mentioned no-spend challenges as a great way to buoy up that savings toward those sinking funds. If you've never done a no-spend challenge, we did a video just a little while back, and we went through 5 different specific types of no-spend challenges. It's really helpful so that you can pick the specific type of no-spend challenge that will help you to most efficiently reach your goals. And that video is right over there.